Hello everyone, I am discussing RPSC Asia Physics paper 2011. So let's start. First question is, find the current through the diode as given in the figure. In this question we have to find the current across this diode. Since there is no voltage given for diode, so we will take the diode voltage 0, and 9 volt of battery is connected in this circuit and 1 kilo ohm resistance is applied here. So by applying Kirchhoff voltage law, which says that the total voltage in a loop is always 0, so we will draw a circuit. Let's suppose a current I passing through the resistance 1 kilo ohm. Now using sign conventions, the voltage of battery is minus 9 volt. Because this is the P terminal, it must be at, this is the P and this is the N terminal of diode. P must be at high, so the terminal of our battery is positive terminal in this here, and below it is negative terminal. So when we start clockwise from, let's suppose this is point A and this is B, C and D. In this loop, when we start from point here, first of all negative voltage V, then the current across this resistance is 1 kilo ohm, so we'll write I into R, 1 kilo ohm, 1K, and voltage in diode is 0 here, and sum of all these voltages is 0. So the current I will be 9 upon, we can write 1 kilo ohm in terms of 10 to the power 3. 10, when this 10 raised to the power 3 goes upside, it will become 10 to the power minus 3 ampere. So our current will become 9 milliampere. So the answer is 9 milliampere. Next, two bodies at different temperature are mixed in a calorimeter. Which of the following quantities are conserved? Here it is given that in a calorimeter two bodies are mixed. Let's suppose one is water at 30 degrees centigrade and other is an iron ball. So this iron ball is at 40 degrees centigrade temperature. Since it is a calorimeter, it is insulated system. There is no loss of heat in surrounding. So this iron ball will lose its temperature, and the temperature gained by water and the temperature of ball loses, and the temperature of water is become high. At equilibrium temperature, when the temperature of both the bodies will same, then there is no transfer of further temperature. So in this whole process, the internal energy of each body changes, but the internal energy of the system remains conserved. As because the internal energy depends on temperature, so when this iron ball loses its temperature, its internal energy starts decreasing, and the water which is at 30 degree temperature, its temperature raises, so its internal energy start increasing. So overall there is a conservation of internal energy. So our option second is correct. Now let's move further. What is the SI unit of torque? The SI torque can be written as R cross F, force applied in the perpendicular direction from the axis of rotation of any object. You can, so if we take its magnitude, torque is equals to, since R cross F, if we take in terms of magnitude, we are not taking here the vector quantity, only magnitude. So radius means it is a distance, so we will take it in meter, and force in Newton, so its unit will be Newton meter, and we can also write Newton meter in joule. Here it is the diagram of the torque acting on this object. When we apply a force at this point, perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation, it will rotate in this direction. So the direction of torque is perpendicular to the both the plane, perpendicular to the plane of the paper. So that's how we are taking R cross F. Let's move to the next question. If body cools from 100 degree to 90 degree in 20 minutes, then time taken by it to cool from 110 to 100 degree in same surrounding will be. Here the temperature difference between the body is same. It is also 10 degree decrease in temperature, and it is also 10 degree fall in temperature. It takes 20 minutes. You all know, when a cup of hot tea, suppose it is at 70 degrees centigrade, in winters its temperature decreases very fastly in compared to summers, because the difference in the temperature with the surrounding is more. In winters the temperature of surrounding is approx 10 degree centigrade, and in summers the surrounding is 40 degree centigrade. So the difference between the temperature of coffee and the surrounding here in winters is more, so the heat falls rapidly, fastly you can say. So the temperature rate of decrease of temperature will depend on the difference with the surrounding. So this is the Newton's law of cooling. Rate of decrease of temperature is directly proportional to the decrease in temperature difference between the surrounding. So the answer will be temperature will be less than 20 minutes, because 110 degree with the surrounding have more temperature difference in compared to the 100 degree with surrounding. Next, why does a glass sometimes break if boiling water is poured quickly on it? Let's suppose a glass, if we take hot water in it, if we pour a hot water quickly on it, then its inner layer starts expanding and its outer layer will not expand that quickly, because glass is a bad conductor of thermal heat. The heat will take time to reach this external layer. So when the mostly in thick glasses, this uneven expansion takes place, so the glass breaks. So its answer will be because of uneven expansion of glass. Next, what is the ratio of surface energy of A and drop B if drop A is made up of 1000 small drops of B? Here A is a larger drop which is made up of 1000 drops of B. So there is a relation between a larger drop and smaller drops, which is R equals to number of smaller drops to power 1 by 3 times the radius of the smaller drop. This is the formula. By this formula we will calculate the energies. So the surface energy of larger drop to the surface energy of smaller drops will be 4 pi r square surface energy of larger drops and 1000 times the surface energy of smaller drops. Since we have converted the radius of larger drops is 10 times the smaller drops, so we will substitute it here, 10 times the radius of the smaller drops. Now squaring it, so 10 square of 10 will be 100 and small r square, so we will get from here 100 small r square. So the terms are cancelling here, 4 pi will cancel, r square will cancel, so the ratio will be 100 upon 1000. So the two zeros will cancel and 1 upon 10 is the ratio between the surface energy of larger drop to the surface energy of smaller drops. So our answer is 1:10. Next question is the differential form of Gauss law in electrostatics. We will derive this differential form of Gauss law. Del dot E is equals to rho upon epsilon naught from the Gauss law, which is simply the flux passing through a unit area is equals to the charge enclosed by that surface upon epsilon naught. By this we know that the flux electric field lines passing through a unit area is E dot dA. So by deriving this formula we will get this result. So simply I am not calculating the whole. So fourth option is our answer. Next is Curie temperature is the temperature above which a ferromagnetic material becomes paramagnetic. Because the magnetization of ferromagnetic material is high and paramagnetic material is low, and for diamagnetic material the magnetization is negative. So the ferromagnetic materials are the domains in a particular directions. When we apply the electric field, they becomes aligned in same direction, and in paramagnetic some domains align in the field of magnetic field direction and some in opposite direction. So that's why its susceptibility is low and its susceptibility is high. So on increasing temperature of ferromagnetic material, its susceptibility its magnetizing power loses, and at a particular temperature it becomes paramagnetic. So this particular temperature is called Curie temperature, at which the ferro converts to paramagnetic materials. This is the clear figure of paramagnetic material and ferromagnetic materials. When there is no electric field, magnetic field, they are aligned in random directions, but the ferromagnetic materials have some domains in which they are in particular direction. And when we apply a magnetic field, some dipoles will align themselves in the direction of magnetic field, but some are in opposite, so its magnetizing power is less in compared to ferromagnetic materials. In ferromagnetics, most of the um, dipoles, or we can say magnetic dipoles, align in the same direction of magnetic field. So the answer is a ferromagnetic material becomes paramagnetic material above Curie temperature. So next is, which of the following radiation has the least wavelength? Remember one thing, that wavelength is inversely proportional to frequency. Lambda is equals to c by nu. Here c is the velocity and nu is the frequency, and lambda is the wavelength. And since we know that energy is equals to h nu, means having high energy is proportional to the, if the frequency is also high. Energy is directly related with the frequency. So for high energy, high penetrating power, its wavelength will be the less, or we can say weakest. So the penetration power, means energy of gamma radiation, is high than these three radiations. We can understand it clearly from the diagram given here. Penetrating power of different types of radiations. Since alpha is simply a helium atom, doubly ionized helium atom, and beta is a positron or electron, and gamma is a photon, electromagnetic photon, and neutron is in nucleus, which is nuclear reactors also. So you can say that alpha can't even penetrate through a paper, and beta can penetrate through a paper but can't penetrate through aluminium, and gamma will penetrate through aluminium, paper, as well as lead. Few radiations partially penetrates through it, and neutron will penetrate through paper, aluminium, lead, and concrete. So by this we can conclude that the penetration power of gamma radiation is highest, and so the penetration power is highest means its energy is highest, and its frequency is highest means its wavelength is lowest. And you know that X-rays can't penetrate through the bones, so their penetration power is high but less in compared to gamma radiations. So here our answer will be gamma radiations. So these are the questions for today. I will say that if you want to practice more and more questions, then please refer your NCERT or RBSc 11th 12th physics books, and your some BSc basic BSc note books which you of S Chand you can take for practicing questions. So that's all for today. In last, I like to say that if you like my video, then please subscribe my channel, and thanks for watching. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.